So welcome back to Kenan Build. This is my 2016 Volkswagen Caddy, and this is my daily. So we're going to be putting a set of Touran rear seats in today's video. I'll give a quick run through the car as you haven't seen it yet, and you are likely to see it in some future videos as I have a lot planned for this car. I have a few parts which I already have to fit. And yeah, so I'll show you the car and then we'll get stuck into the seats. So before we dive into the seats, obviously I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of the van so far. So I've had it about a year. It's been a really good van so far, and there were a few bits on it when I bought it. So the GTI steering wheel and the Mark II TT seats were already in it. And the few bits I have added are the Rotiform CVT wheels. They are 19 by 8.5, I believe. And the front splitter's been added along with the LED side indicators. I do want to get the gloss black grills for the front. I have the one which goes around the badge, but unfortunately the bottom ones have to be painted, so I have to get them painted somewhere. Same with the weather strip on the side. I want to get them painted to match, along with the spoiler that I have. It's just more of a bit of a ducktail that sits on the top, but that also has to be painted green. There's a lot of plans I would like to have, money dependent, but I would like to stick it on a suspension. We don't tend to do things by halves, so I would like to get it on the floor. And more towards the interior, you'll see a lot of that in the rest of the video, obviously as we're putting the rear seats in and going to sort out the rear carpets, and I'll show you maybe the starlight roof lining and all that things as well. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. Before I can dive too far into the seats, first thing I'm going to do is remove everything that is in the way, just so that I don't have to remove anything later on. So I'm going to remove all the side panels, all of the boxes, get the seats forward, get the floor up, and as much of the plastic trim as possible. So let's get that off. So everything's now out. Removed all the side panels, the floor, and any of the plastic trims, like the one that goes across here. I pulled the seat forward. There are two plastic trims either side which go up this, I think it's the B pillar. So the next bit to do now is this section here. There's a panel that goes to where this join is here, and that needs to be taken out by spot welds. So I need to drill them out. There's a few spot welds across the bottom. So I'm just going to see how it goes, and I'll try and tell you where the spot welds and show you the panel at the end, which should show you where all the spot welds are. So all the spot welds are now removed. Across the side there are 7 which sit right against the just behind this rubber seal. There is a bracket which is there as well, but that just seems to be, you can just hit that off with the hammer as it's just like a seal there. There's then 10 spot welds all across the top. It doesn't seem to really be glued down apart from this corner section here, so that just takes a bit of prying up. And then the only piece to watch out for then is underneath here there's a bracket which I just cut, and then I'll tidy that up once it's all out completely. And then finally the only other piece then to watch out for is there's a hole here which the wiring comes up and over the panel, so you just need to cut that so that you can get the wiring out so that the panel can get taken out. So as you can see, this is with the panel missing, so these will become the two footwells for the seats. The 2 rails then, one front one will sit across here, which I'm going to have to test fit, and then the other one sits slightly further back for the 2 rails to mount on the seats. I'll show you as much as I can fitting these in, but let's get putting the rails in. So now test fitted and got the front rail in place. I did have to trim off a bit here to fit to the back of the Caddy. I've primed it a bit at the minute, ready to paint it black. Most people tend to like spot weld this in, but I think I'm going to seal and rivet this panel in, just because I don't like the idea of welding with the fuel tank underneath. I don't really want to drop the fuel tank, and also it's easier for me to remove in the future if I decide to go back to having the panel in the front. So I'm going to test fit this now, get some black on it, drill some holes, and then I'll seal and rivet this first piece before I then move on to the rear rail, but I can't really do that until this piece has been securely bolted to give me my like datum point. Front rail is now fully finished, painted, bonded in and riveted into place. Fits quite nicely. So what I'm going to do now is get the 3 seats and mount it to this rail, and then mount the rear rail, which I'll show you in a sec, to the seats to give me my position for where I need to rivet the rear mount into position. Seats are now clipped into place with the mount clipped to the back. So all I got to do now is lie these down into position. They should all move in one piece. I've just got to mark the positioning of the rear mount, and then do the same as what I did on the rear for the front and rivet it into place. Obviously I got to check the fitment and all that, but yeah. So the rear rail is now tacked in with 1 rivet either end, just to check the positioning before I finally drill and rivet out the rest of the rear rail. I'll just show you how they go together. So they just simply clip down like so, and then pull the levers. So that's them. The seats need a bit of a clean. They're a bit dirty from the car they came out of. So the next plan is to get these back out, drill and rivet the rest of the holes into position, so that's everything fully mounted, and then I can make a start on the front carpets and all the plastic trims and fitting all that in. So I'll show you as we go. Let's get the seats back out. Rear carpet is placed in. I'm probably going to trim the carpet to say here, so I can put the rubber mat in the far back, but these plastics then sit on the front footwells. I think I need to possibly rivet or somehow attach them in permanently. However, I got to remove the chairs so I can get the front carpets underneath these rails to then mount back on the top. So once the seats are out, I'll show you how the carpets sit on before bolting it back in. Front carpets are now in. As you can see, they slide underneath the seats. That's why you have to lean the seats forward or take them out. So there's no plastic trims to go onto this front rail and the lids for these covers. So I'm going to get them put on and the plastic trims, and I'll show you again. Most of the carpets are in now. Front carpets tucked in under the seats. I've also put the compartments in. They're bolted in as well, so you can see both of them. Don't know what I'm going to use them for yet. Most of the plastics are in. I just got to add each of the screws just for the retaining screws. There's some plastic pieces that clip in each of these. So I've also then put the plastic trims down the sides, but the trim that goes down the side here is going to need quite a bit of trim in, so I'm going to need to do that at a later date. But yeah, most of the carpets are in, so it's just final bit of finishing with the plastics. So I'll trim the plastics and show you what all of it looks like at the end. I'm also going to trim the carpet here so I can run the big rubber mat from here backwards, just for when I put stuff in the boot. Once that's done, we can then start to move on to the seat belts. Thank you for watching. We've made a lot of progress today and I'm really happy with it. Let us know what you think in the comments below, or any advice before I move on to the next bit. So stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to finish off the plastics. Got to do a bit of trimming on the sideboards to get the seat belts to fit, like where they mount up on the sides. Got to mount the seat belts down the bottom. So yes, there's a fair bit to do. So come back for part 2 to see all of it finished, and then I'll do a bit of a run through at the end of what I've done.